We're here to tell time by the minute today. Time by the minute today. Time by the time by the time by the minute today. So I don't know if you guys could tell, but I'm super excited to tell our time today because we get to talk about the second hand on the clock. Now, I don't know about you, but when you wake up in the morning, we don't go from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We don't go from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. because in between every hour, there are what we call, yes, minutes. And we already established earlier, and established is a fancy way of saying that we've already learned, that in an hour there are, I didn't hear anything. Is this thing working? How many? Let's try that again. There are how many minutes in an hour? Yes, 60 minutes in 1 hour. Say it with me. 60 minutes in 1 hour. 60 minutes in 1 hour. So our I can statement today is I can identify how many minutes are shown on the clock. Give me 5 seconds and I promise you will be up on the board. So this week we've been talking about an analog clock. And we said that the analog clock is in the shape of a square. No? Of a triangle. No? Of a star? No, again? Okay, I heard you. Of a circle, yes. So I'm going to draw a circle. Not a perfect circle, but it'll do. And that's going to represent our clock. Inside of this clock, we said that it had to have a certain amount of numbers. Who remembers that number that should be, or how many numbers, should be in our clock? Yes, 12. So we have 12 here. We have 3 here, 6, and 9. That was the way we learned yesterday to write our time. Then I'll fit it in. So I'll start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now, aside from having these 12 numbers, we also said that we have to have how many lines on our clock? Yes, 60 lines. And we said that those lines represent, or they show, our minutes. So we have it's my hand on fire. So now, we talked about having these 60 lines. We're going to find out what do those 60 lines mean. And you should already know because we've said it. But also, how can we count it without taking forever? You know it. It's time for our definition box. So before we start to fill in our definition box, we're going to pull some of the words from our I can statement so that we can know what we are learning today. So I can identify, and we know that the word identify is fancy for tell. So I can tell how many minutes are shown on the clock. Today we hear a brand new word that is on our I can statement. Which word is it? Yes, minutes. This week we have not talked about minutes yet. Yesterday we were speaking about hour, and today we get to talk about minutes. Awesome job. And then just to make sure that we're getting that practice in, we're also going to throw in the definition box the word analog. So we have minutes. And we have analog. Awesome job. So how would I define minutes? Well, let's think. How many seconds? So seconds go really fast. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many seconds do I need in 1 minute? If you said 60, you are right. There are 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. So there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. How will I know which of my hands, I'm not talking about this hand or this hand, but I'm talking about these hands, which hand is my minute hand? Is it the short one or the long one? Yes, it is the long one. Yesterday we learned that the short hand is our hour hand, which means that the long hand is our minute hand. So it's the long hand. And then let's see if we could go through our analog clock very quickly. Our analog clock, well, slow down, Mr. Nieves. Our analog clock has how many hands? Yes, 2 hands. How many lines? Say it louder. Whisper it. Yes, 60 lines. How many numbers? Yes, 12 numbers. And it's usually in the shape of a circle. So yesterday when we were learning about time, we learned that when the hour points at the number, it says the number. So this will be 12 o'clock because the hour hand is pointing at the 12. This is, yes, 1 o'clock because the hour hand is pointing at the, but today we're going to start including our minutes. So now we actually have to say the hour plus the minutes so that we can say the time correctly. But how do we find out the minutes? Because we can't say that this is 1:12 because the hour hand is not pointing at the 1 and the 12. It's only pointing at the 1. So how do we know how to figure out which number do we say for the minutes? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. You guys remember in the morning time when Mr. Nieves will make us count by 5s? Well, that's how we're going to count our minutes. We're going to look very closely. Closer, closer, closer. Okay, closer now. At our clock. If we look at our clock, I want you to count with me. How many blue lines do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the number 1 has a 5 above it. Well, we know the 1 is for the hour hand. What do you think the 5 is for? Yes, the minute hand. So in between of each of these numbers, we have 5 lines, which means that for our minutes, we're going to count by, yes, 5s. So we would say 5, then 10, then 15, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then instead of saying 60, we know that that is 0 because it's a brand new hour. Awesome job. All right, so let's draw that now and try to figure that out. So I'm going to draw a big circle. And I'm going to do 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Awesome job. How many hands does it have? Well, I have my hour hand pointing at the number 12. And now my minute hand will not point at the number 12 today, but rather it's pointing at the number 3. Are we going to say that this is 12-3? No, that is crazy. Are we going to say that this is 3:12? That's not right either. So we need to figure out what time is it. Well, whenever we say the time, we always start with the hour. We always start with the hour. So I'm going to start here. I see that the hand is pointing at the 12. So I know that it's going to be 12. So I'm going to write the number 12. and then 2 dots here, because this is where I'm going to put my minutes. So I know that is 12 something. Well, Mr. Nieves said earlier that we count in increments of 5, or we count by 5s. So I'm starting at 12. Is 12 going to be my 5? No. 12 is my 0. After 0, if I'm counting by 5s, what comes? Yes, 5. Then how many? Yes, 10. Then 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then I start again at 0. Take a second, let this sink in. Okay, my hour hand is in the red, and my minute hand, or my numbers, are in the blue. I already said that it is 12. Now I need to figure out how much is 3, because I can't write 3 here. 12, 3, that's not correct. So I need to do it correctly. My hour hand goes first, so it is 12. And then I'm going to count by 5s to figure it out. This is 0, so I'm not going to count 5 here. Are we ever going to count 5 for 12? No, that's our starting point. So we will come to the next one, and it is 5, 10, yes, 15. My long hand is pointing at the 3, which lets me know that I've moved 15 lines, or I've moved by 5 3 times. 5, 10, 15. So I would say that it is 12, 15. That is my time. We're going to do one more problem before this time I have the hour. It is 4:45. I need to know where to put my hands. Well, my hour is what time? Yes, 4 o'clock. So I'm going to bring my hand down. Wrong color, sorry. And my hour hand is in between the 4 and the 5. I'm still 4 o'clock, but I'm almost at 5 o'clock. So it's pointing closer to the 4. So it is 4:45. Well, how will I show 45 minutes? I don't see the number 45 in the 12 numbers that I counted. Did I mess up? Did I make the wrong time? What am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm supposed to count by 5s? I forgot again. Am I going to put 5 right here? No, why not? Oh, because the 12 is 0. So I'll put a 0 here. Then after 0 comes, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and 55, and then 60, but we know 60 is brand new hour because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So 0. So I have my 4 ready. Now I want 45. We're looking at this. Which number here gives me 45? That doesn't look like 45. That has a 5 in it, but that doesn't look like 45. Can you tell me which number? I didn't hear you. Can you say it louder? Okay, now can you whisper it? Yes, the number 9 has 45 next to it, which means that my minute hand should be on the number 9. This shows me 4:45. Let's make sure and count by 5s to make sure Mr. Nieves did it right. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 4:45.